Okay, let's get started on this. Messing around with streamer bot and stuff, so let's get moving on with this. I have too many windows. That is without a doubt. Okay. So obviously I've been making progress through the planning items. I'm kind of deferring the bigger question, the bigger challenge, right? I'm deferring on that whole ID thing. Well, I'm procrastinating, I'm deferring. I'm kind of trying to do everything around the edges I can that won't be affected by any major changes to it. Because they're still planning items, they're still everything else, projects, etc. Let's let them start up. Oh. Big scary animal. People walking past outside. These Okay, so planning items load. We can get into them. We can get all the requirements. So that's cool. We do have projects, and there is a project attached to this planning item. So today, I'm going to kind of work on the filtering aspect, I think. I think that's the best thing to do, is kind of work on some of these extra pieces where I want to yeah, it's not bad idea. So again, like the ID, like having the PRJ2 or PRJ1, etc. on this item, that needs to be solved. I need to figure that out. But again, I'm kind of putting it off because it's a hard challenge that I'm not sure. I'm not sure every solution I've come up with isn't a kind of hack or a miss. So let's add the filtering. The filtering is still necessary, and I'm still going to have to learn a ton to do it. I thought I had more stories backed up in here as far as this goes, so this is disappointing to see that I didn't have this. What was this one? Did I have a parent item? No. I thought I had. Yeah, the tenant administrator should be able to define. Okay, so I did all the stories that are around that piece. Okay, so let's create a new sprint. And let's make this projects, filtering, searching. No, I don't want searching. Filtering. The dates for this really don't matter that much, because it's more, more intended just for me to kind of put a grouping of things together. But yeah, projects, filtering, and more. Sprint launch now. Create. Okay, so new card as a product manager. And I think at some point I'm going to have to sit down and actually do some formal documentation of this and kind of design a document that has the roles, the intended uses, that, some use cases. I don't like that part. That's not the fun part for me. So it's really difficult to kind of get engaged in, and writing is not the thing I find the easiest anyway. But writing down who is using the system as individual users, as a product manager, as a developer, as a CEO, etc. Those things would be useful to have. As a product manager, I want to be able to filter planning items by project. We now assign a project to a planning item. It would be useful to be able. Crispy Penguin, hello, how are you doing? It would be useful to be able to filter the projects shown by project to which assigned. I'm fine, thanks. Finally having a bit of time to work on some projects. How are you doing? Doing good. I'm I'll show you. I don't know if you've seen what I've been working on the last couple of months, as far as projects go. Oh, you're just going to reload for me. That's nice. That was awesome. That was really good. You should definitely do that again. Just bits here and there. Yeah, so I've been working on this Agile project platform for a couple of months. About 6. I need to get better at this planning piece, for certain. Let's go with that for now. It's not going to hurt me. So, the goal is to have the create a planning item and attach requirements to it, and then from here generate stories. So the idea is this would collect all the information together for the stories. You can attach screenshots and layout mockups to individual requirements, and then pass them over and make the stories out of either requirements or the planning item plus requirements, etc. So that this is kind of a tool for building up those requirements, etc. And visibility and notifications are kind of my focus. So these dates up here are not the dates these were added. These are dates that they should be reviewed by. So they will publish notifications to people who care. Ultimately, I want to get out of the way of the developer. Right? I want the developer to be able to just say, what work do I have to do? And focus on the work. And be able to have a meaningful discussion with PMs without having stories sat there pointed, wasting time, wasting energy. I mean, stories could still sit there, but yeah, just focusing on the whole visibility aspect of project work. So, been working, and it's a large system. It's a whole distributed system. There's lots of moving parts, etc. So, yeah. So, what projects have you been working on recently? Anything cool? I know you said in Genso's stream that some projects had ended, and that's sad. But yeah. Well, that's what I need to do. I need to catch that. I need to put that in my bot and then make and have one line describe my project, because he's way better at describing what I do. Okay, so today this is actually going to be. It seems very simple, but it's actually going to be very hard. So we're going to focus on this one. T-72. It is a tank. That can stay running. That's actually a cool piece. It doesn't need to stop running that. New branch, feature T-72. Add filtering to projects list. So what we're going to do, and this is going to seem simple, but it's going to be actually extremely difficult, is add a drop down up here. Maybe a collapsible panel. I don't know. Drop down for now. It doesn't really matter. The UI layout I've got to stop focusing too much energy on, because it is all temporary. Drop down up here with the project list. When you select a project, it will filter this down here. The main project is still a bit secret, but I hope I can put a lot of hours into it next couple months. Nice. Well, here's hoping. I discovered recently that I have severe sleep apnea, and that I need a machine, right? And everyone's telling me that my concentration will improve and my energy will improve, and I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what that looks like, because I've been like this for a long time, and I'm wondering what productive me can look like if I can produce stuff. If I can stay focused on this for 6 months or more, probably more now, probably more like 8 months on this. If I can stay that focused on this for so long, then what can well-rested me do? So I'm hoping to get a little bit more energy and focus soon. I mean, it's a hope, but yeah. Okay, so to get this is a little bit difficult, right? So if we do, we're going to need to open up Banana Cake Pop. Let's open Banana Cake Pop. Sure. Dang it. Fingers crossed after I had an MRI last week, but they're still searching what's wrong with me. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. MRIs are not fun. I wish I could say I hadn't had a few. My wife is going to kill me. Sorry, I'm looking up my password manager. I need the Git password, and it is not a simple one. Having an app on your phone, so needing a password, then having an app on your phone that fails to authenticate, so you have to use an actual third-party authentication, a two-factor code. That's awesome. A shipment for your deliveries out for... Oh, nice. Okay. So now with me signed in, I like that one. Okay, so I'm using GraphQL. So if you are new to the stream or you haven't seen this before, he says he struggles to find the actual. Have I closed it down for once? Oh, I end up with like 1,000,001 windows open, and then no clue which actual tab is going to contain the thing I want. So let's did that shut down? Let's draw. There we go. Okay, so this system is a distributed one, and it is using CQRS. So I'm separating my commands from my queries. Challenging, absolutely. Optimal, I believe so. And the more I use it, the more I'm happy with this architecture. It does fit for what I'm doing. It does make sense, and it feels comfortable to develop in, which I'm enjoying. So when I send data up, it goes into the right side of things and is written to a database that is per module. We can call this a mini monolith. We can call this microservices, whatever we want to call them. These are not microservices by my definition, because they are entirely self-contained systems of behavior and data, and it's everything. Microservices to me is breaking that up even more into little pieces. But each one of these has its own database, so it has its own storage, and the benefits are it can be optimized for the write. So everything in here can be optimized purely for retrieving data quickly to verify that it's necessary or it needs updating, etc., and then updating it quickly and getting out of the way so that the data is stored and saved. This is the source of truth for each of these pieces, right? When it publishes to Kafka consumes it, and we have this read database over here, which is completely should be considered completely reproducible. At some point, I'm going to have to create some I suppose it's like ETL tools, some data pipeline tools that will allow me to say, okay, rebuild this database. And the only way I'm going to do that is by saying, okay, go and do a transform of this data into the right data in here, right? So if I have to restore this database, I have that option without having to say, oh, well, I need to create some funky system of republishing, right? Because if years go by and these databases are massive, this read database is going to be humongous, and that's not good, right? So one thing to make clear is I am treating this, I do want to make this a product, right? I'm treating it as a product. I'm treating it with all the same thoughts I would a real application stack, in which case I'm thinking of that scale, that growth, etc., as if it's 100% real. Whether it is or not, only time will tell. Right? There's plenty of other products out there that probably do things that I don't have the ability to go research, because I'm not signing up for full Jira. I'm not signing up for full Monday.com to find out. But yeah. So we're building the system very much in that scalable way. But we've got this GraphQL database. So data comes in and we're consuming it through Kafka and rebuilding the data in a structure here. Now, right now, it just looks like all these tables joined together, but it doesn't mean it has to be that way, right? I can add indexes. I can normalize data. I can denormalize data if I need to, right? All in this database without affecting the actual storage and the actual ownership of this data. So, and again, by using Kafka, later on I can add a search layer. I can do all sorts of extension to the system without actually changing these core components. So the flexibility and the maintainability is definitely worth the effort. So now the GraphQL database here, this is used purely for the view, right? And I say GraphQL database, it's a database that is pure read. And GraphQL is here. So the data models in here, when I set up my, my database connection, I don't have to track anything. I'm not updating this data with all these contexts, etc. So, and I'm subscribed to the GraphQL pieces. So my queries right now, I have the ability to get users, get projects, get planning item by an ID, get planning items, right? So I can query all these, and these are authorized, right? So I have to be logged in to do it. So what we're going to do here, let's go get our token. Oop. Copy value. We need to go and get, I wish they'd make this easier, right? Like, there's got to be an easy way of doing that, right? Where I can just say, okay, well, here's the authorization, by the way. That's really annoying. So when we get projects right now, server not reachable. Oh yeah, I'm not running. Let's run that anyway. You know, and as always, I'm more than happy if there's anybody who has questions, if there's anybody who has thoughts or opinions on what I'm doing. You know, I want to discuss this, right? I'm not saying that this is the world's best architecture. I'm not saying this is the right way to do this. It is a way that works. It feels good to me. And, you know, if anyone else has experience or things they want to share that even might help change my mind on something or refocus me, I'm all down for that. Because again, I'm not streaming because I want to say here's the right way to do this. I'm streaming because I want to say, here's my way of doing this. Does anybody want to discuss this? Does anybody want to like share their thoughts, opinions, or have me, you know, provide more information so that someone else can go and learn, right? So the stream is not intended to be about me saying this is the right way. But right now, this is a very flexible way to me, and I enjoy doing it. So, okay. So once we're running, now we can get our projects. Planning items is what we actually need to care about, right? So the planning items here are here. Well, hello there. Won't stay long. Hi, Decidius. I hope you are well today. And I just appreciate you stopping on in. Thank you for saying hello. Any more music ideas sparked yet? So what I want to do here now is, so I have the get planning items and then get planning item by ID. They look almost identical in terms of data, but this obviously has the filtering there. I don't know what the right way. So the way I know to provide filtering here is to kind of tab on this, but that seems really excessive because again, if I want to say, okay, I want projects for a person, or I want planning items for a project for a person, or planning items for, you know, X people. How do I do that, right? What's the right way in GraphQL? So that's why I'm saying this might seem like a very simple thing, but I want to make sure that I'm at least reviewing how to do this properly. And you know, the UI is going to be only part of the challenge. How to search and filter results in GraphQL. Okay. Type, query, ID, genre. Sorry. So genre IDs. Using an input type. Okay, so let's go to Chili Cream. So Chili Cream is the company that does the tools that I'm using for GraphQL. Let's talk about GraphQL Fusion. Let's not, because I don't want to get more confused. So they have Banana Cake Pop, which is this client I'm using right now to explore my GraphQL. They have Hot Chocolate, which is the actual server software I'm using, right? So I want to use this one. Fetching data. Pagination I'm not too worried about right now. Let's go to filtering. With hot chocolate filters, you can expose complex filter objects through GraphQL API. This sounds more like what I'm caring about, right? That translates to native database queries. The default filter implementation translates filters to expression trees that are applied to a queryable. Hot chocolate by default will inspect your .NET model and infer the possible infer operations from it. Okay. So this syntax still confuses me a little bit, this SDL stuff, right? Like, the following would yield the following filter operations. Public class foo, SDL, right? That confuses me still. So I'm a little bit unsure. Or does that generate the input? I don't know. So anyway. Add filtering. Okay, so here we go. We can use filtering. And then under the hood. So let's go over here. Let's stop running. So we can add filtering. So let's go to our view. No changes yet. Okay, so we have GraphQL, and up here, here's our services. So let's we've got add GraphQL server, add authorization, add query type. So that's our actual list of queries that are available to us. Our subscription, we're adding subscription type, and subscription here is this, where we can basically say, okay, well, here's our subscription. So you can subscribe to notifications, and again, the way that looks is like that, right? So subscription, notification received, and that's what I'm subscribing to. That, so I can subscribe to things. This is just a helper, kind of a helper method. That is invoked to try and validate. So this actually allows you to filter the stream back. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Then add socket session interceptor. So that's our WebSocket stuff. So that's for, this is all subscription stuff, right? So this is actually maintaining a list of the subscribers and using WebSockets to communicate in real time. So I'm able to push data down to the client through that technique. Right. Later on, I probably will use SignalR. SignalR is a little bit more built for that purpose. I think GraphQL here is kind of like, hey, data change, by the way. So right now I'm using it for notifications, but maybe I'll swap that out for SignalR later. And you know, that's always an option. So let's do add filtering here. I gotta go, but good luck with the project. Crispy Penguin, thank you very much for coming in and hanging out. I hope all goes well, and I hope you get an answer on that MRI soon. Take care. Add filtering. So that was not available to me there, was it? Add. Nope. Do I have to include a package? Data. Okay. Manage hot chocolate data. I don't know whether I need that one or that one, but let's figure that out in a second. I'm going to assume that needs that, so let's do that. I'm using Entity Framework. If I have to get out of the way, so right now, one of the sticking points I've always had with GraphQL has been the fact that when I've used it in the past, I've tried to put it onto the same database that I'm writing to, right? And sometimes that schema doesn't necessarily match what I would want to query exactly. So it's very hard to build up that query. This way, I can flex and change and tweak the database to whatever I need to do to get the data to come out properly. But the GraphQL piece definitely feels like it's more suited to its own dedicated data store rather than having a shared data store. So the reason I wanted to put it there. Okay, so there's our add filtering. Okay, so let's go back and have a look. So Or hot chocolate packages need to have the same version, that's fine. Hot chocolate will infer the filters that are off your .NET model and use middleware to apply filters to blah, blah, blah. If you use more than one middleware, keep in mind that order matters, right? Okay, so we can tweak it, but let's not worry about that later. So let's not worry about that until later, rather. Okay, so let's go back to this. Now we go to our query. So the challenge here is, yeah, we can't do that. It's built for iQueryable. So let's see if this actually works, because I think this will fail now, because I think this is expecting an iQueryable, and now it's going to get a list back. I don't think the filtering is going to work the way I think it should do. It'd be nice if it did, but I don't think it is. So get planning items. So what they're showing in the demonstration over here is, sorry. Once I've done the filtering, I can write a query that looks more like where project. That project is a nested object, so that's a challenge. Let me move. I'm going to move this over here so I don't keep flicking back and forth, because that's irritating. I get that. So what we're saying here is where project. Now, the problem there is, what? Okay. User addresses, get user service. So right. That's great and all, but don't give me the example GraphQL. Because the problem there is I've got project and I have ID, right? Or name or whatever. So in this case, I want to say, well, project ID. Right, because I want to say project ID is that. Why? Why is that not allowed? What's wrong with the variable? That's perfectly. Oh, because I don't have it referenced. That's why. Yeah, that'll come later. So that's just saying. Yeah. Yeah, but I want to do a nested GraphQL. Hey Delta, how you doing? Nested object filter. Really good. That's cool. Offices, some ID identifier. I'm breaking my brain with GraphQL filtering, I think. What don't you like about that? Unknown argument where on field. Okay, so. Oh, okay, you just want that. Yeah, you didn't like that, did you? Okay, let me read that again. Variable of type used in position expecting UUID. What does that even mean? House parent. Oh, hold on. Equal. Is that better? Yes. I have no idea how I'm going to write that on the JavaScript, on the TypeScript side, but all of a sudden, yeah, I didn't figure that out. So basically, this understands that it can go nested, right? So project.id equals identifier, right? So it's allowing that navigation, and it is working with the list. Not ideal. I think I might have to rethink how I'm doing the GraphQL layer, because the benefit of this is I can use these specs, right? I can create these complex specs and do the querying and all that sort of stuff, right? And get reusability. The downside is that I think that the way that GraphQL intends to work is I give it a schema and I just hook up straight into that schema, right? Which is why, again, I don't like mutation, because then you're able to just directly change the database from the GraphQL layer. That feels dodgy. So I might have to rethink this a little bit. Now I'm not changing. I'm not changing the data, so it might not be a problem. But I might need to return iQuerybles here and then kind of normalize data. Although with navigation properties, I should be able to do it. But I don't think I need this interpreted planning item view model layer. My models should just be able to do it, right? And actually, just rename that to make sure I'm clear. So the problem with doing it this way is if I've got a lot of planning items, this filtering is going to happen in memory, which means I'm going to return all the planning items without doing that filtering. It'd be nice if I could kind of make a spec out of it, but yeah, I don't think I'm into the. I don't think I'm. How to say it? That'd be cool to go off and develop, but I don't think I'm at the point where I really want to go and try and figure out how to build an entire other layer. Because realistically, then I'd have to use specifications and understand how to wire in an automatic specification and do all sorts of weird stuff. But I think it would be possible. But I'm doing all that reflection and all that stuff right this second. That would be too much of a diversion. So this is working, this filtering here. So if I do marketing, no planning items, fresh project, 2 planning items, right? So we do get our planning items back. So we do have the filtering now. Okay. Client side, this is where this is going to get horrible, right? Let's start with the easy part, right? Let's start with I want to put a drop down in there. Planning items, div. App. I want just a drop down here. Select, simple select. App simple select. Okay, options. Is it options? What are you combining them up? Options. App simple select. You give it. Where do we use the app simple select? Is that it? I didn't use it yet. What? Non-interactive elements should not be assigned interactive roles. Worry about that later. So what I'm trying to do today is add a drop down next to planning to do that filtering. This is stuff that's useful to learn. App simple select can't bind options. Why does that not work? TS simple select list item. Probably with list view simple. It's not list view simple. That's for certain. Yeah, it's not that. That's the projects view. Simple select. Why not? Private current items. So it is items. That's fine. Let's do. Read only. Projects equals inject. Project store. Oh, that's not good. So I have the settings project store. And I have this project store, which is my project store, which is what I use to query. So I'll use this one. I got to be careful about that though. That's a bit of a smell. So the idea would be that the project store would be the one I need for what I'm using it for. So the settings one has the ability to add and stuff, whereas this one should never have the ability to add. So I've got to make sure I always stay relative. That's not too difficult though. This.projects.load all. So I'm following the pattern. And then planning items here. This is going to be projects dot. What's the word? Entities. There you go. Entities. Let's do that for now. Let's at least get a simple select in there and see what happens. Okay, we got something in there. It's a bit janky, but it's fine. Okay. Div class equals. That's quite the poor styling, isn't it? Maybe why I didn't use this component yet. Planning items component. I need to select none in there. So that might not be app simple select that I want, right? That might be. It's not a combo box, so I don't want typing. So that would be bad. What do I want? I want Tailwind UI. Browse components, drop downs. I want See, combo boxes. I don't want to search at all in there. I kind of want one of these that will clear, but I can worry about that afterwards. Let's get the filtering. Just outline a learning strategy. What does that involve? For yourself or for others to follow? Oh, nice. I hope the mail arrives before my wife gets home today, otherwise I'm in trouble. I read some book this morning that was extremely concise, 100 pages of content, impact mapping. Become a stronger developer. Learn C programming language for embedded development. Learn by doing. Learn from others. Huh. So you kind of mapped out the things you want to learn. General formats: who, why, how, what. Nice. Because I don't know if you're around earlier, but I'm kind of hoping that the so I need a CPAP machine, and I'm really hoping, because I do have energy, but not a lot, right? And I don't have a lot of focus, because if I sit down for 5 minutes, I'll basically go to sleep, right? So if I just sit here quietly coding now and it gets a little warm or something, I actually just pass out, right? So I just fall asleep. So I did the sleep study, and I'm hoping that once I have the machine and stuff, that I'll, on my own, if I'm just sat here, if I'm focused and I get a flow going, I can code for an hour or two. But if I hit a sticking point like this, I'll get bored. I'll actually just fall asleep. So I've got to be careful. But I'm hoping that the CPAP machine, because everyone's telling me that I'll have a lot more energy, I'll be way more alert. I'm hoping that it just gives me that little bit of gets me back to where I used to be, because I could sit happily coding previously, like when I was in my 20s and early 30s, I could happily sit and just work on stuff for 8-9 hours. I have no issue sitting at the computer and doing stuff if I'm focused and I'm productive. So I think I want to kind of focus on my ability to learn. And I'm hoping that I can read a little bit more now. I've got some sort of diagnosis. So you say that, and I remember in my early 30s thinking I was doing that, but honestly, the last 3 to 4 hours of the day, I didn't accomplish anything. Oh no, I know, because I would work, and back in my, how long? I'm 44 now, so back in my early 30s, I was working on a team. I was working on multiple pieces of software, and then I was coming home and doing development as well. So I was happily coding for many hours a day. But it's just escaped me. I mean, the last 15 years have been I've gone by really fast, but yeah. I started coding in my teens, right? And I've been doing this professionally for 25 years. So, but even 10 years ago, I love building software, right? Give me something you need. Give me a piece of software that you can tell me what you need, and give me a reason for providing it, and I'm there, right? That's interesting. That's taking the same color background. BG. It's not white though. Ugh. Why is that? UL. So what's actually doing the invalid ID reference? That's invalid. Well, the page isn't. I wouldn't have realized when I was doing negative work. Yeah. But it's, for me now, it's very hard to sit down and do anything meaningful, because it's just, I'm so tired. So that has to be that. That's the button. So why is that BG? There's no background there, so there we go, that's better. Current name, placeholder, select one. Yeah, but the my hope, like that learning plan, right? To me, I struggle with the concentration, and I struggle with the focus. So it's why streaming is so good for me, because it does keep me focused, and it's nice. And again, I can interact with, and I do miss interacting with other people who care about software development, right? So the streaming kind of fills that gap as well. Different work I can do more or less of, also. More complicated, short and fuse kind of thing. Oh, absolutely. No, that's no different for me. If I get stuck, I get very demoralized, so I move quickly. Like this is worrying me, because I'm about to take on, so I'm kind of tinkering here, because I know I'm about to face something that I don't want to do. Although the other side wasn't too bad, right? So I need to select this, and when I select this list changes, right? Like HTML, CSS, I can do in the morning before work, on weekends a bunch too. So here's the thing. I know this is a placeholder UI. If this was for somebody else, and I was showing them, and I was like, it's very narcissistic, I suppose, but if I was showing them and I was seeing the positive, like mental, the positive outcome of that, it lifts me and keeps me focused and keeps me moving forwards. When I'm doing things for other people, I'm really happy doing things, right? I like building stuff for people. For me, this is just going to be difficult to do, the UI stuff, right? The TDDC SQL light project is heavy work. Yeah, and there's a lot of, it's not just sitting there at the keyboard and doing the things. It's thinking through what you're doing. It's taking that time, and yeah, that's when my focus drifts the most. Okay. I mean, from a mental effort standpoint, not pure motivation. Yeah. No, I mean that. Yeah, again, that's the part that's not seen as well. So it doesn't matter whether that's for somebody else or whether. And oftentimes I think that's why software is written so quickly and so haphazardly, is because you're trying to do something for someone. You're not really thinking about the quality of it. You're just trying to think about how to get through the job quickly enough. When you sit and stop and think, oh, I need to do this properly, it gets a lot harder. So that motivation can fall quickly. Yeah. So yeah. Like, my side project is easy. I just swap out the project. Yeah. And it's easy to do, right? And that's why side projects go so quickly, right? Because we want to build something, and once we get past the cool parts, or we get stuck on the cool parts, we move to something else. It's not worth getting stuck on, and we're not alone. Pretty much, every developer you talk to has a side project that they wish could have been something else, or right. This may turn into that, right? I don't want it to be, and I'm trying to put everything I can into making sure this moves forward. And I think I'm doing a pretty decent job of building something that is demonstrably workable, but it's hard, and I'm going to face many more challenges. I'm trying to bring focus to my side projects. That's the reason for that project. No, I really respect the configuration there, the setup that you've got there, and I like the idea of the learning plan. Okay, I need to take a quick break. I will be right back. Oh, thank you for sharing the book. Nice. I need to take a quick break. I'll be right back. Okay. Nice. So I will going to have a look at our book. Okay, so filtering. I've procrastinated long enough. I've got to figure out how to do this. Now, on the client side, the challenge here is it's not just about the GraphQL piece, right? It's the store. Right? So I load the planning items, and when I change this filter here, I've got to re-trigger the data call. So the planning item store here has a status, and it has kind of like whether it's loaded or not. Sorry, I'm just checking something. So when I select the filter, I need to trigger that the store needs reloading, and then apply the filter into my query. Right. So my planning item view here, right now, that's all it does. Right. It just loads the store, and there we go, done. Now, on change of that thing, I kind of need to reload this, but also provide a filter. So in the store, if we go to the features, planning items query, build change frame, we have a load all method, and that says, okay, set it to pending. Now, if it's not current, actually, that's a bad, that needs to go inside there. Technically, I wouldn't set, if I was using this, if I was using the pending state to trigger an overlay or a loading screen of some form, technically every time I go into the screen, it would load, it would mark it as loading, but then the store would be marked as current, because once the data is loaded into the store, it doesn't keep going back to GraphQL for the data, right? That would have actually put an overlay up over the screen, so that's necessary. And again, that's also a challenge here, because I only set it back to fulfilled, which is the opposite of pending, when I've actually completed. If this fails, the loading overlay stays up, which I'm sure we've all seen many times on many sites, so it's not like I won't be the first one to do that. But anyway, so when I load all here, now this is going to have to take a filter object of some form, right? And then pass that down to the actual service. The service here, fetch all, is where that where query is going to get in. But that feels like a super that doesn't feel right. Now maybe I need to build a different query for the filtered version. So that's the next piece to learn, is what do I do here? Because I can't just go sticking in, where here, because that's going to make a mess. I could argue that, I would never be reloading the entire list. So there's always going to be a filter of some form, but I don't want to assume that right this second. Okay, so what is this? This is Apollo GraphQL client. Apollo GraphQL client optional filtering. How to filter and search. Right. Not what I want. We're not doing that. Where? How to conditionally include. Mr. Jones, good afternoon. Hope you're well. Okay, but that's not as well as I can be. How's the cough going? Okay, so if we did so if that was where any. Then we did. Oh, there's a way of doing variables. I need to redo that and rethink this. Oh, there you go. There's our variables. I think it's slowed down finally. Yeah, it kind of took it went like that for me. It was just days. I mean, yeah. But I think it creaked when I say coughing. Oh man. It's not one thing, it's another, right? The joys of getting older. Okay. It's the cough that just keeps on giving. Yeah, mostly I just got headaches from the coughing because the constant rattling. But yeah, it's. I'm sorry to hear that. Okay, so get users filter some filter input type, pass value for filtering query available. Okay, so this to do that then would be variables where and then we do where. That might not be the best variable name, but we'll find out. Some filter input type. No, that's not what I want. So what I'm trying to do here is pass this part in realistically, right? Planning item view model filter input. Yeah. Where planning item view model filter input. Just rolls off the tongue. And then that's going to be optional. No. And then, oh no, it's not there, is it? It's, oh, query planning items. Where? Did break? Not working yet, but did break. Did the error? Yeah, it did. Didn't error in the way I thought it would do though. So my problem there is it's kind of so query planning items, right? That's the name for that query, I believe. I think that helps with caching. I'm not sure. But now where, and then my bet is that this isn't defined. And then that filter is that, right? So the problem is that's null. I suppose we could do it this way. We could try and write that, right? So let's do where planning item filter input view model Bob. Where is that? Oh, can I do that? Do you like that? No. Do you like that? The syntax string value is incompatible with the type planning item. Okay, so then do I have to define that in that way? If it's not apparent, this is the guess your way through how to write GraphQL queries. Part of the that is just a string. But this has to be a planning item view model filter input, but how do I pass in? So the reason I'm confused by that is this is what a planning item, what an item filter input looks like, right? And I could probably use a schema to schema definition. Here we go. So that's what that looks like, right? Oh, hold on. Oh, but that's what I'm doing. So how do I define one of them? Oh. Equals. What do I like about this? Property keys must be double quoted. Okay, so that's that, that's that. That's that. That's that. Oh, there we go. So we can build an object that looks like that, then that's okay. Now, if I don't have that, do we get everything? That looks like it we do. So, that's how we're going to do it. So where? I think we actually probably should create create an object. I'm just trying to think about where I should put that. Planning item service. So let's go over here and create a new folder. Filters. Filter input. Let's just go with that for right this second, and then create a TS file. Planning item items view model filter input. Yes. Who likes that name? Export class planning items view model. So my wife ordered. I might not be the only person to have ever done that. I was going to say my wife ordered a Walmart food delivery, grocery delivery, and she put around 10, and it just got delivered 10 minutes ago. Like, I suppose it is around 10, an hour and a half away. So that actually populated. I mean, it's not what I wanted, obviously, because that's what I actually need, right? Let's make it so that we can. This is the sort of thing where I feel like I'm about to reinvent a wheel. So, apologies. It's exported this object, right? Right, that's what it wants. I think I'm going to go down a rabbit hole that I don't want to go down. So let's remove. I do my grocery delivery on Thursdays. Also, shopper is currently shipping. We do a 3-hour window. Right. Okay. So that's probably why. It's probably a 3-hour window, and yeah. So, good morning, by the way. Oh, that feels messy. Like, that's what it's meant for, right? It's actually, hold on. Export. Is that? No, that's not a GraphQL export. Like, all of a sudden, I'm like, is that an actual object I can pull in? That'd be awesome. That's just the definition in GraphQL. It's a morning. Hope it's good for you. I've been stuck on a suggested plan for something for the last couple of days at work, and I've just been kind of stood. You know those days where you just sit and you stare at a screen and you don't produce anything? I've been trying to solve a problem that I'm kind of. I don't want to do. It's risky crap, to be quite honest. And I've got to do it quickly without any testing and deliver it, and it's business critical. So I've got to come up with the most robust solution I can that I can do inside of a month and get delivered and tested. It requires DevOps and everything like that. So, you know, it is crazy how much I look forward to streaming right now. Like, I enjoy the streaming, don't get me wrong. I love, hanging out and doing the coding and stuff, but it's like, I shouldn't look forward to the first 2 hours of my day with as much energy as I do, knowing that from there it goes downhill until I get to go and do some exercise later in the day. Right. So that's not a positive thing. So yeah. Okay, that does need to be a class. In TypeScript, you don't need to do classes so much. We had an RC that we just got the pipeline to work around at 2:50 p.m. Client meeting at 4 p.m. So no time to test the RC. Testers were testing it after the meeting, after I was off the clock. They found an issue that I need to research, so I started my money with that. Ugh. Yeah. Like, I really do hope that I can take this project to an actual product. And from that product, I can see all the other challenges that we don't get to see as developers, right? What happens to the business when we don't deliver a feature because we're not happy that the feature's working properly? What happens when we take time to do a refactoring? All these things that I've wanted to do for years, and every organization I've been in has kind of cut the corners to get the product through, and chosen to do, things we all know are unsafe as far as the future growth of the software. Ads are playing. I know you're not going to be affected, but I'll be right back while I get the cold stuff into the fridge, and I'll be right back. Sorry about that. There's two frozen. There's two things to refrigerate. Yeah, and the 5 things to put in the freezer as well. So back and forth. Our freezer's in a completely different room. Back and forth and back and forth. Okay.
Okay, so interface, project, view, model, filter, import. So this is going to be ID, string, and name string, right? And then this is going to be project, which is going to be a project, view, model, filter, import, right? I'm about to reinvent some wheels, I think. Now here, this is going to be planning items, view, model, filter, import. That's an awesome file name to include. So let's do this. Let's do TypeScript file index.ts, and then we'll do export star from planning items filter view model filter import. That way, here we can cut that down to there, and we don't have to have that stupid little long file name. Okay, so now that's nullable, so this should still work. He says with confidence as it fails miserably. HTTP failure response. What did you fail doing? The variable name where is not compatible with the type of the current location. It's not ideal, is it? It's not compatible with the type of the current location. Beg to differ. The variable name where. Well, where is there? I mean, okay, that's not the best name. Let's go with filter. That reads a little better. Let's call that. Let's call it filter. Filter. But either way, network. The variable name, the variable filter is not compatible with the type of the current location. Okay. The variable is not compatible. The variable is not compatible with the type of the current location. That looks fun. The conspiracy response, your extension doesn't work because of nullability. Your space, but that's not valid. That's not valid. Right, because if I remove that now, the variable where is required. So that's forcing it to be required. That is allowing it to be nullable. And that is setting it. So the variable filter, variable doesn't have at the end, it means that its type is non-nullable. Such a difference can be caused by. No, that's quite the opposite, isn't it? I'm pretty sure that's quite the opposite, but let's. Yeah. Yeah, it's not. This doesn't cache the schema. I'm reloading, so I'm definitely hitting the database, this all the time. It's happening at the GraphQL layer, not it's being passed. So query. Oh, no variables. Variables.
Well, that's fine because I'm passing. Yeah, I'm not passing a variable in. That's perfect. That's as I'm not giving it a variable. Let's give it an actual variable and see what happens. So let's go to planning item query feature. So now we've got, do I expose that object all the way up the line? Or do I kind of abstract that here into its own object, right? So should the planning item filter view model input thing be passed through? Well, I've kind of made it accept there. That's okay, but do I want to do that? Do I want to expose that further up? Let's go with yes for now and then see where we end up. Planning item view model filter input. That's the nullable one in TypeScript, right? And then we can just pass filter there, right? And then on the view side, we need an on change here. Filter by project. I don't think that gives me what I want. Simple select. I didn't use a simple select, did I? I used a... I did use a simple select. So change filter by project. Method. Debugger. Logs. Expected one argument got 0. How do I TypeScript? I don't think that's how I TypeScript. That's not how I TypeScript. Event. I don't think that works either, but we're about to find out. Yeah, that don't work. Not worried about that right this second. On change. App simple select. Put label, placeholder, on change. That's the simple select, that's the planning items. Filter by project, debugger. I mean, that's not gonna... That'll work, but that's not really what I want to do. It says that'll work. But it doesn't, so that's not what that is. Is that it? Nope. What's the event that I need to use then? I don't think I put this in and then I almost immediately removed it. So, combo. App combo bot selected. I'm binding that to a form control. So I'm not even caring about that.
on change, selection change. Like, how much do I fight this? Because realistically, I'm going to end up with more filters up here, so I could put this in a form, right? In which case I've got what I need. My problem is I want to do it when I change it. I want to react to it. So, simple select this, toggle select this on change, right? So on change is private, so that we must know, like, it does fire, it does tell something, and whatever subscribe to it. And on change, this is part of the control value access. So maybe that's because it's a form control. So it's built to be a form control, not to be anything else but a form control. So I can't use it in that capacity. I don't necessarily want to make a form, but form group equals filter form. Okay, so that's that. And then Genso, hello. How are you doing? My apologies for not being very chatty yesterday, but I was in the stream for quite a while. Okay, so let's do public. Did it fine? Not bad today. Filter form equals new form group. So your projects are impressively ambitious. I was watching as you were doing the Death Star run. Like, just the creativity and just the sheer effort that you put into those things is incredible. Very cool. So this is going to be project, and that's going to be it's quite a challenge. Yeah, you got lots of work on your hands, that's for certain. Okay, so that's that, and then so that would be form control equals. Oh, that's why that's that way. So that needs to be public is form control, and that'll be set project. Right. That's this project. How do I do this? How do I do so there's our controls.
form group is then, yeah, okay. I remember how to code now. I remember playing similar games decades ago, and I think people made this stuff on toasters. Yeah, I always have the retro games, and I actually just picked up some 3DO games, and a new 3DO, or new to me 3DO, 30-year-old console, right? And you look at the things that are possible, or were possible back then. They did amazing things with very little hardware, and people still are doing stuff, right? Bit of a diversion, but you know, the homebrew community around a lot of these old consoles is impressive, and the amount of effort they put in there. If you do Doom 32X versus Doom 32X Resurrection, right? Hopefully, someone's got a couple of images. So a developer. This got shared the other day in BBBs. Have you seen it? DOS games. No, I haven't seen that. That's cool. Nice. That's what I need. Some more distraction. It's hard not to feel like these people are the same kind of. Hard not to feel like these people are the same kind of. Yeah. But this game. So Doom on the 32X originally was a very big disappointment, right? And I mean, you know, look at this. So the original game on the 32X had these borders. It had this rubbishy health bar. The gameplay was slow and sluggish. The music was garbage, right? Then someone built a version and based it off, I think, Jaguar Doom, but got the PC soundtrack in it. So it's still running on the 32X. And they made it networked as well. So you can actually hook two Sega Genesises up together and play Doom in multiplayer. But like the creativity, the amount of work that people put in, but just to get that out of that hardware, impressive. So, you know, when I'm playing, looking at what you were doing yesterday, and then you think, hey, well, I was playing, you know, Rogue Squadron on the GameCube 20 odd years ago. Like, we've come a long way, but there's so much more we can do. But yeah, I find your stuff really super impressive, and I really do hope you get the chance to keep streaming it, because it's you've got a lot of cool stuff in there. I would recommend checking out, you know, the other streamers I recommend as well, because there's, you know, again, there's a lot of cool people. Okay, so let's go back to this. I need to finish this up quick. So this, what I was missing there is this should be string, and then so let's get my ordering correct. Project is this project. Okay, so that looks a bit better now, a bit healthier. So that should be project. Let's see if it at least compiles. Right. Now, still a Benjamin. Thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome in. Now I've got to figure out how to trigger the change, right? So I've got it hooked up into a form. Angular form group change events. How to watch for changes. Value changes.subscribe. There we go. So in here, this dot project filter form dot value changes dot subscribe. This dot projects dot load all. Project is this dot project dot value as No, there's a different. I think there's a different syntax for that. Expected. So anybody watching, if you have any questions, thoughts, opinions on what I'm doing, you're more than welcome to ask. I just need to get this piece done, and then I can kind of demonstrate what it is I've been working on. I am building a quite large application to do Agile project management, planning and tracking. Projects. It knows projects is a signal store. It knows it has a load all method. This filter form dot value. That'd be amazing if it could do that, but it can't. But yeah, if there are any questions, I'm more than happy to kind of discuss this. Nothing I ever do on stream is beyond conversation. I'm always looking for new and interesting ways to do things. So what I'm trying to do here is this filter should be passed in. So to the planning, it's the planning items. That's why, not projects. Okay, so there's something that's smelly there, right? I am continually mixing up projects and planning items. So I might want to address that. So I go here. Is this firing? Is the first question. So there's our filter. Okay, so that's not right though. Because that needs to be project ID. Property name is missing in, right? But I don't need to have, that's optional. There you go. Planning, right? So my problem right now is I'm firing this query off, right? That looks better. Filter, project, ID. Oh, no. That needs to be EQ. Export interface EQ filter import. I'm reinventing the wheel. It feels dirty and it doesn't feel. It feels like I'm going to do something where I could have exported this or used GraphQL for this. I don't know how to do that, so I'm going to have to find someone who understands GraphQL a little bit better than me. So the problem there is that should be that, right? So the query it should be building, and again, it's not going to be right. But that looks closer to that project ID equals, right? So I'm building that query out now. I still think they need quotes around them, though. That's the problem. The variable filter is not compatible with the type, right? So now that's being swapped out there, right? So this is filter, and this is the actual thing, and then that's being put in there. as the value of this. So that's right. So let me, I can ignore all that if I just go back to, let me show you what this is meant to do. Planning item service. So if I remove that and that, of course I'd start now. I'm not doing that though. What filter are we talking about now? Oh, I'm an idiot. I removed part and not all, so that's that. That's that. That's that. We'll wait the 21 seconds for the ads to come out. There we go, that was better. So unfortunately, Twitch doesn't tell me if people are seeing ads or whether you are being affected. If ever you are, just let me know and you will. Okay, so it says ads are ended, so hopefully people are back. But if you are interested, so the project I'm working on is this Agile project management platform. I really need to record one line saying this because one line is so much better at describing my own project. Right now, what I'm focused on is the planning aspect. So if you want to get requirements for something, if you want to try and build up an idea of what it is you're trying to build, gathering these things. So the idea is you kind of add a planning item, and you can assign requirement. You can attach requirements to it. Ultimately, this will have images or mock-ups, etc., being able to be added to each requirement. I just use words you've used. Yes, but you put them so much better. Yeah. But anyway, so you can put these together and ultimately be able to add screenshots and stuff to these, and you'll be able to build stories from these. So, you can add a planning item, you can, go in here, new planning item, and you assign a project to it, a user, and a review date. And the review date is kind of what is the first differentiator between what I'm doing and what I've seen in other platforms. The review date is a date by which you must do something about this item, otherwise it's going to keep annoying you, right? It's going to stay at the top, it's going to keep in your way, because I don't want to build a traditional backlog. The backlog of work is always, left sitting there. Items just get put in there and left for whenever someone gets around to it. We can all probably, count the number of times we've seen work just sat there because we're too busy or whatever. So the idea is that the planning items and stories, etc., will all have a review date, and that review date will trigger alerts and notifications. Obviously, noise is a big concern there. So how you are notified, what you are notified of, and stuff is going to be a big focus of future development to try and make it so that you can kind of customize what you need to know about. As a developer, you pretty much don't need to care about anything. So you don't need notifications, right? You don't need to be told, oh, this planning item has gone and added a new comment or whatever, right? Now, maybe you have interest in it and you want to subscribe to that. So that will be the option. But you'll be able to say, okay, I want an email digest of the planning items for this project, or I want an email digest of things that have kind of gone past review date, etc. And people will be able to kind of trigger their own or configure their own level of comfort with what they need to be notified about, right? If someone in sales needs to keep an eye on a feature, they want to see where the planning is, right? They might subscribe to email notifications of, the expiry, comments being added, requirements being expanded upon, and if they haven't seen something by a certain date, they can react to it, right? But it doesn't require them going to a developer or going to a product management and saying, oh, where is that thing, right? Because we all get busy, right? We all have this backlog of work. So what I'm working on right now is trying to be able to filter the actual planning items, and this is just the first pass of this, but filtering the actual planning items down to what it is you're focused on, right? So I'm focused on Liquid Sky, which is the code name for this project. Is it a fresh project? Is it marketing, customer support, etc.? So that's what I'm trying to work on right this second, and that's what this is intended to do. And this filter works fine. So I'm just going to figure out why it breaks when I put it inside of the Apollo GraphQL pieces. So yeah, that is a quick overview of what Liquid Sky looks like. There's a lot of technology going on. So again, if you're new to the stream, if you're just popping in and wondering what I'm doing, I'm always happy to talk about this. I'm always happy to describe to go into detail about the technology. This is an open source. I've considered open sourcing it a few times now, just so people can follow along. But I do want this to be a real product, so I don't want to risk having that software out there and me putting some stuff out that's kind of not as I would want it in the long term and it being used. So I don't want to share this code necessarily. And also, if people start to contribute in any way, shape, or form, or they think they can do better, and I have to deal with pull requests or at least issues being tracked, etc., that's a lot of overload in a system that is already large. So I'm always happy to stream. I'm always happy to show the code on stream, and there are components of the stream which you can get to with the !shared command in the chat, which will link to the projects themselves that are shared. Things like the Kafka library and the mediator Outbox stuff are all in there. So yeah, that is the quick Liquid Sky overview. I will continue to try and get this. I get to do that with a new job soon. Why did it star out 00? Or did you do that? What specifically do you get to do with the new job? Which part? The tree is a curse word. Okay, you did start. That makes it funnier. Streaming the work, not sharing open source. Yes, yeah. That's pretty cool. There's a few people that streamed their work. Jesse, he streamed his work. Oh, why can't I remember the name now? All of a sudden, what's he called? Streamed his work. Finite Singularity. He streamed his work originally, and then switched over to doing the OBS stuff. So that's all Finite was streaming. So I kind of like it. I would love this to be a full-time job. This would be cool if I could get to the point where I actually made a product, and I would absolutely consider streaming it full-time if I actually got to the point where it paid a salary. But let's keep working towards that, eh? So anyway, that is Liquid Sky. That is the goal for today. Has been not an absolute failure, but we failed to connect the pieces right at the end of the stream. If I could just figure out why that wiring is not working, then I have the ability to then filter the projects, filter the items by project, and this will grow, right? Do a Kickstarter. Yeah. I don't think the demand is out there for watch me build a massive software platform. Like, I have considered offering, like, the problem is that it's so much in my head. I do have a friend that I asked if he wanted to join in, and he did show some interest, but the challenge is, the schedule, the work. He's also busy with work, so it would be nice to have other people be able to work on it with me. But the reality is it's just not practical to do it that way. And, you need some dedication of time. And it's not the sort of thing where I could say, hey, do you want to use this as a growth project? Because again, you can't necessarily demonstrate what you've contributed and what you've done other than what's on stream. So that's why Water Drink Water exists, right? So if you want to contribute to a project and kind of get that practice of GitHub pull requests and teamwork, Water Drink Water is for that. So, okay. Not a total failure, but now I'm frustrated that I didn't get to wire that up at the end, because that would have been a useful thing to have working in one stream. What's next? So when I get beyond this, obviously I still have to tackle, and this might be the focus of tomorrow's stream, just to try and get over this hump. I want to attach, and I kind of describe it in this planning item, right? When you add it to planning item, I want to assign a project identifier to it. That's a human readable thing. You probably use them all over the place. Oh, and I kind of do it even in this, where is T68 or where is T72, right? Or where is PRJ1, right? It's a useful and friendly way to refer to an item. The problem being that the projects will span across the components, and therefore that unique identifier needs to be tracked somewhere. So where do I track it? Do I create a service that sits out and is, a standalone, hey, here's your next number service? Do I fire off a request using service bus and sorry, my brain just went blank. Do I fire off a request using service bus and, say, hey, get me the next identifier, and then publish it back? Kind of a request response, a command result with service bus. How do I do that? How do I tackle that, right? Because when do you need that? Technically, you need that PRJ1 the moment the planning item closes, because you need that identifier. So do I pre-allocate it? Well, I can't pre-allocate it because I don't select the project until here, right? So when I select that, do I fire a request and say, hey, by the way, could you just get me an identifier, please? And then it allocates something. I'd be interested to test, and I don't know how I would do it, but if I use something like Jira and I go into two clients at the same time, and I try and create a work item in both at the same time, and then I hit save at the same time, have they pre-allocated the identifiers? Or if I open it in 3, I go into the first one, then I open the second one and the third one, and then I hit save on the third one. Has the identifier jumped forward 3, or does it give me the next identifier? Right, because has it pre-allocated? I'm just wondering if it pre-allocates in some way, shape, or form. Because once I select that, it would be fire off an event, go request that, so that by the time I hit create, that's actually prepared. Because again, because of the way the system is built, I don't want to build a tight dependency. Another option, but again, it's error prone, and I've got to stop. I need to go and get something to eat, and I need to stop waffling. But now my brain's kicked into overdrive with the analysis, right? So projects is owned here, right? Planning items is here. I create a planning item. I want an identifier from the project. Do I publish when a project is added an event and everything gets it so that they can all update their identifiers? But again, distributed computing, what happens if this service is down when that event is published, right? And then it comes back online. Hopefully it'll consume it, but now that event, do I just rely upon it being eventually consistent? Hey, this identifier has been dealt with. This identifier has been dealt with. But then the problem with that is, and this is, again, I'm just kind of going through the ideas, right? And going through the pros and cons. I can't use data I store in here as a source of truth because it is not the owner of that information, right? That's just a copy of the information. It's because you zoomed out to top level summary, which makes it easy to see the gaps that need to be filled in. Then you can't help but consider how to fill those gaps and follow the rabbit hole down the hole. Yeah. So I'm rapidly iterating through the possibilities and trying to shoot holes in each one. Right. In reality, the project doesn't. If a planning item gets promoted to a story, then that story gets its own, even if it's in the same project. Oh, it will be in the same project. But if a planning item gets promoted to a story, then the story will get a unique identifier, right? It won't get the same one because you don't have that. So you don't have to worry about it transitioning. If a planning item changes projects, and actually, that blows up everything. Okay, I'm going to save that thought because that thought is very damaging to my entire design. Yeah. What if a planning item needs to span multiple projects? Because, a planning item, if we consider a planning item as being arranging work, what if there are DevOps requirements and there are products requirements and there are infrastructure and or other requirements, right? Should a planning item actually be constrained to a project? So again, ticketing, I've already decided that projects are a label, is a project. And this is the sort of stuff I need to be asking and making sure I'm validating, right? It's not okay to just keep going forward and assuming that I'm right. I have to be, at this point especially, I have to be comfortable with saying, I'm wrong, it's designed badly, let's change the design, even if that costs me weeks worth of refactoring. And that's, I was going into it at the beginning of the stream, right? The hope that if I take this to a product, when I take this to a product, that I still have the strength and the conviction to say, we're going to do that right, not quick, right? Because that's often how we get in trouble with software, when we try to just make things work and we just kind of stuff them in there and that'll work. We're trying to literally stuff that, that suitcase full of stuff, and we're just adding more and more and more and still trying to close the suitcase. So it's at some point you've got to stop and think, okay, what's best for the software? And that's what I want to keep thinking about. So maybe I don't need to worry about this, right? Maybe I can use a unique identifier at the projects level, at the planning items level. Like, this is PL, or planning items is its own identifier, right? The one I'm stuck on is I was only using the test server API endpoint with the app, and the first time I tried the production endpoint, it was in the release candidate. There's so many things to do, I just forgot to test that. it's hard. I mean, keeping track of all the moving parts of software is difficult, and in reality, no one's perfect. Everyone makes mistakes. Your measure is, how do you react to mistakes, or how do you react to problems, right? Do you panic, throw up your hands and blame someone else? Do you stop, assess, and suggest a correction path? How quickly can you turn around and say, here's how we fix this problem, right? I've told the stories many times of me with the credit cards when I was younger, charging £20,000 worth of credit cards twice by accident because I'd mistakenly entered some code that I didn't realize. And I had a boss that was like, okay, it happened. What? All the panic and scare and fear in the world, all the we need to post-mortem this, etc., is not going to change the fact that it happened. First correct, and then, understand and hopefully learn and grow. So, there's, especially in today's software development, that was a very simple time, right? 20 years after that, I still could make that mistake, and I'm not perfect, but the reality is, if I make a mistake like that, I have to say, okay, well, what went wrong? Why did it go wrong? And how do I correct for it? And is there something I can learn from it? So, yeah. It is difficult. Okay, so I have waffled on enough. I hope that if you are new to the stream, that you have not been... if you do have any questions, there is a Discord as well. You're more than welcome to join. I'm always happy to talk about software development, and even if it's your software development, right? The stream can be productive, but if you have questions that can help you, I'm always happy to try and tackle that. I'm not doing project work on stream for anyone else, but we can always talk about software. So feel free. So, your closest. Okay. Let's go raid Full Stack. Full Stack is doing some DevOps stuff. It is the closest to what I'm doing right now. My groceries were just delivered too. Thanks for the stream. Heading out to grab them for the port. One line, thank you very much. I will see you again tomorrow. Yeah, so let's go raid Full Stack. Full Stack Live, if you have not been there before, is an awesome guy, a very experienced guy. Does a lot of DevOpsy stuff, a lot of Ruby and stuff on stream, but extremely knowledgeable in software development and really pragmatic as well, which is always good to find, right? So lots of cool stuff there. I will be back tomorrow. I'm going to try and continue on with this later on this evening and see if I can get some more progress made before stream tomorrow, so I can kind of tackle that. What is a project? So thank you for joining me. Take care, and I will see you again soon. Bye all.